A cloudy sky over a deserted battlefield. An abandoned village lies in ruins, the remnants of old buildings crumbling as the wind picks up. In the middle of the chaos stand Sai and Konan, two warriors with opposing goals but similar calm demeanors. Conan's cold, calculating eyes scan Sai as they face off, her body poised and ready. The wind blows softly through her blue hair, loose papers swirling around her like delicate petals. Sai, with his blank expression, holds his ink brush, ready to draw. The tension between them is palpable. You are in my way, Konan says coolly, her voice soft yet sharp. Move, or you will be torn apart. Sai's expression remains neutral, though his eyes narrow ever so slightly. I have my orders, he replies, dipping his brush in ink. I won't allow you to harm my comrades. Without another word, the fight begins. Conan's body dissolves into a flurry of paper, her form breaking apart into hundreds of paper sheets that scatter into the air, surrounding Sai in a swirling storm. She reforms high above him, sending dozens of paper kunai raining down. Each one glistens with a thin sheen of explosive tags. Sai calmly flicks his brush across the scroll in his hand. Ninja art, Super Beast scroll. Ink creatures burst from the page, giant birds and lions, taking form in an instant. One of the ink birds swoops up to intercept the paper kunai, while the lions charge forward, leaping at Conan's floating paper form. The paper kunai explode mid-air, but Sai's birds evade, fluttering around the blasts with ease. Conan's eyes narrow as the ink lions come closer, their inky claws swiping at her. She transforms into paper once again, slipping between their attacks with fluid grace. Impressive control, she mutters, her paper spreading across the battlefield like a wave. The paper begins to twist and take shape around Sai, forming long tendrils that lash out at him from every direction. Sai leaps back, flipping through the air as he draws another bird, this one larger and more detailed. The ink bird takes off, and Sai jumps onto its back, soaring above the field of paper. You can't run from me, Konan declares, her voice echoing as her paper swarm rises to follow him. The paper wraps together, forming sharp wings and taking the shape of a massive angel with outstretched arms. She hovers in the air, her wings made entirely of explosive paper tags. I will bury you in the paper storm, Konan says, her wings expanding as thousands of paper tags begin to glow with chakra. Sai watches her closely, his eyes scanning the battlefield for any opening. His face remains stoic, but inside, he knows he's facing someone dangerous. I need to stay ahead of her movements, he thinks to himself. As Konan flaps her wings, hundreds of explosive tags launch toward Sai. The air crackles with energy as they explode around him, tearing through the ink birds and shattering the landscape below. But Sai is already on the move. His bird dodges the blasts with incredible agility, weaving through the explosions. Ninja art, Super Beast scroll, ink clone. Sai's voice rings out as he draws rapidly. Ink versions of himself split off from the original, each one racing in a different direction. The clones jump off their birds and land on the ground below, spreading out to confuse Konan. Conan's eyes narrow as she scans the battlefield, trying to pinpoint the real Sai. Clever, she mutters. But before she can track him down, the clones each draw a massive snake from their scrolls. The ink snakes erupt from the ground, coiling and lashing out toward Conan's paper form, their massive bodies weaving through the air. Konan swiftly disassembles herself into paper, her sheets scattering to avoid the attacks. Suddenly, the real Sai appears behind her, his brush flying across the scroll as he draws with lightning speed. This will end it. In a split second, Sai summons a massive ink tiger, larger than anything he had summoned before. The tiger roars as it lunges at Conan's disassembled paper, its jaws wide open. The tiger moves with ferocity, its ink rippling with chakra. Conan's eyes widen as she reforms just in time to dodge the tiger's jaws. She flutters backward, but Sai's ink beast is relentless, chasing after her with predatory intent. Konan raises her hand, and more paper tags form a massive shield, blocking the tiger's attack. The ink beast slams into the paper shield, but Konan releases the explosive tags, detonating the paper in a brilliant flash. The explosion sends ink and paper flying in every direction. Sai skids to a stop, shielding himself from the blast with a hastily drawn ink wall. As the smoke clears, both shinobi remain standing, their expressions unchanged. Konan hovers above the ground, her paper slowly reforming. You're persistent. But you won't defeat me with ink drawings. Sai, calm as ever, watches her. Maybe not, but I can hold you off long enough. Conan's expression remains unreadable, but there's a flash of irritation in her eyes. You think you can stall me? I won't allow it. Her wings expand once more, this time forming countless paper butterflies that flutter through the air. Each one carries an explosive tag, and they swarm toward Sai with incredible speed. Sai's hand moves swiftly across his scroll, drawing a massive ink bird to carry him upward. The butterflies explode around him, the blast shaking the battlefield. But as Sai soars through the chaos, he remains focused. You won't escape, Konan declares, the butterflies closing in. Sai's eyes narrow. I'm not trying to. Suddenly, the ink bird dives, hurtling toward the ground at breakneck speed. The butterflies follow, but as they near, Sai's ink bird dissolves, transforming into dozens of ink snakes that slither along the ground. The butterflies explode, but the snakes evade the blasts, reforming into a massive inky web that encircles Konan from all sides. Conan's eyes widen as the web of ink tightens around her, the snakes binding her wings and limbs. She struggles against the ink, but her paper is dampened by the ink's chakra, restricting her movements. Sai lands gracefully on the ground, standing just outside the reach of the ink web. His brush still in hand, he regards Konan with a calm expression. You're bound, Sai says simply. This ink will hold you. Even paper cannot escape. Konan glares at him, her expression still composed but clearly frustrated. This isn't over, she says, her body flickering as she begins to dissolve into paper once again. But before she can fully escape, Sai makes his final move. Ninja art. Ink explosion. The ink web around Konan pulses, then erupts in a violent burst of chakra-infused ink, dousing her paper form and disrupting her control. Konan's paper body falters as the ink soaks into it, preventing her from fully reforming. For the first time, a flicker of surprise crosses Konan's face. You. Sai stands calmly, his brush lowering. This ends here. I won't let you continue. Konan, weakened by the ink, stares at him, her paper wings faltering as they try to lift her. She knows she can no longer continue the fight, but her eyes remain defiant. You've delayed me, she says quietly, her body slowly starting to pull itself back together. But you haven't won. Sai's expression doesn't change, but his eyes reflect his determination. I've done enough. The two shinobi stand in silence, the battle momentarily halted. Neither has truly won, but for now, the fight is over.